Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here as always with my good friend Dan Meisman. Dan, today we're bringing the listeners, the viewers, a bite-sized transfer rumour mill because we kind of spoke about Marcus Acuna the other day, but we thought, why not dedicate you guys to a full episode and just speak about him because what a wonderful player he is, and it would be rude not to, wouldn't it, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're due a transfer rumour mill. I was looking back, mate, the last time we did, so not a transfer announcement or anything like that, because obviously we've had a couple since then, but a dedicated transfer rumour mill episode was all the way back a month ago. Can you believe that? When we did Diaby and Brennan Johnson in a rumour mill. So forget everything like that. Forget Marcus Acuna. You and I are due one of these, mate, because as you know, this is what we live for, right?
Absolutely. This is our bread and butter. We just love talking about players. We love talking about exciting players like Marcus Acuna as well, especially. It comes with that caveat because, I mean, mate, his trophy cabinet is just an absolute joke. Obviously, recently added the World Cup to his roster. He's a Copa America winner also, one-time Europa League winner. He's won the Portuguese Cup with Sporting Lisbon. He's won the Portuguese League Cup twice. And, of course, he's won the UEFA Cup of Champions with Argentina. He's a born winner. He's played at the highest level for a long time. Friend of Debu, has been a part of Sevilla's ecosystem for a little while now. So, you know, it's safe to say that everybody at the helm of Aston Villa knows exactly what this guy is really capable of. Incredibly versatile, mate. Can play anywhere along that left-hand side and would even be comfortable slotting into the midfield positions as well. This, I can see the comments now, mate. I can see the comments now. There's going to be people, but he's 31, another left back, this, that, blah, blah. When a deal like this comes up, when the opportunity to sign somebody of the caliber of Marcus Acuna pops up, you just simply have to take up the offer, mate, don't you?
Yeah, it is an interesting one, but I think to kind of appease all of that is Moreno felt the same, didn't he? You know what I mean? Like when we were talking about it in January, we were like, why Moreno? Why another left back? Like we've got Luke Dean and all this sort of stuff. And then he kind of came in and we were like, oh, that's why Moreno. And I feel like Acuna is like, look, like none of our left backs are kind of spring chickens. Acuna, as you say, 31. Luka Dean is only a little bit younger at 30. And I mean, obviously we've signed Moreno, but he's 30 as well. So I feel like we've seen a definite pivot in Villa's transfer strategy of late, kind of over the last couple of seasons, really, where we're turning to more experienced players. Obviously, you've got a couple of deals in there that buck the trend, the likes of, you know, John Duran and stuff like that, where we're actively trying to pick up a kind of a young talent. But it feels like we're kind of adopting a real win now strategy. And given that we're in Europe and the importance of the Conference League, this could bring that. I mean, generally, you see quite low fees coming out of Spanish football. It's one where that certainly hasn't gone to the levels that the Premier League has. You see some deals done in La Liga for players for less than £10 million, and you sort of think, well, you know, he's a great player. How's he gone there for so cheap? But that's kind of how it's done over in Spain. And you have to imagine with Acuna, his current deal expires at the end of next season. So he's not got a lengthy contract that Villa need to buy out of or anything like that. There is the option to kind of get him now. You look at the kind of fee that we paid for Moreno, that was only around 13 million euros from Acuna's rival side in Seville, Real Betis. It's coming in around that mark, and you imagine, you know, if you sell Luka Dean, there was Saudi interest, you're probably going to sell for more than that. You can make a profit on this deal by getting Acuna in and selling Dean, and you still got money to spare. I think that's good business.
Absolutely. You've got to, I think what we need to get better at is the sort of the moving on of players, right? And when we're talking about, you know, the Saudi interest from Dean, you don't know how long that's going to be there for as a viable option, right? You don't know when or if there's going to be any Saudi sanctions. I mean, I don't think there will be anytime soon, but there was certainly talks of Premier League clubs not being able to potentially do deals with the Saudi guys. So you want to make sure you can kind of cash in that check while the interest is still there, from both sides, from the player and from the club's perspective as well. But Acuna is, I think, with Moreno, obviously very unfortunate that he's not in the side right now. We're clearly a way better side for having him in. I think he caught a lot of us off guard, didn't he, with how cute he was. Do you know what I mean? Like every sort of through ball or every sort of little dribble past the defender, it felt perfect. Like as if it was within, a million. I felt every time I felt like Moreno was doing a one-on-one with a winger or a fullback, he'd go to knock it past him, and every single time he does it. I'd still think, is this going to be the time? Is this going to be where it falls a little short? Manages to do it every time. Loves the little shimmy. Loves to drop the shoulder. Acuna to completely, go to the other end of the spectrum is just a lot more aggressive, isn't he, mate? He's somebody who loves to get himself forward, and he is skillful. This isn't me saying he's not a skillful player at all, but it's not as precise or as clean cut as it seems to be with Alex Moreno. And I kind of like that because there's an aggression that is, very stereotypically Southern American, Argentinian, if again, to be more specific, that he brings to his game, which is, again, something that we do really lack. We don't have many players in the side at the moment that are as forthcoming, I think is maybe the word, as someone like Acuna.
Yeah, and we spoke about, didn't we, in the post-match the Newcastle game, like we need guys that can stand up to the psychological test that we're going to face at points this season. And Acuna is going to be that guy. He sort of loves to get stuck in. He's a very well-rounded, very experienced, wily, gritty fullback who can definitely bolster the defence and attack. I feel like when you look at someone like Acuna, because he's such an all-out, tough tackling player, you can kind of forget what he does offensively, but compared to other left-backs across Europe in the top 5 leagues, he's in the top 45% for all attacking stats measured on FB Ref. So he's clearly a player that can get forward. He's got the ability to play further up the left wing, which he has done at points. He's kind of played as not quite a left winger, but sort of a wide left midfielder, if you will, and has done quite well there in the past too. So he offers a bit of versatility up that wing. And yeah, I think he feels more of an Emery player in that regard. And I think he's someone that, as I said, probably brings a different kind of psychological profile to someone like a Luca Dean and definitely someone like a Moreno as well. And it's interesting that I think the reason why Moreno and Dean just seem so strange at the time is because there are definitely similarities between the two, whereas Acuna and Moreno feel like two totally different players. And so in terms of having them as rotation pieces in and out of the squad, you can really tailor your left-hand side depending on your opposition. Obviously, when Moreno is back from injury, that's the important thing to kind of mention in all this, is that we're still waiting to see on when we can expect Moreno back in the side. But, if we are selling Luca Dean, we'd have to have pretty good hope that Moreno is going to make a swift comeback, because you don't want to be left in a position where all of a sudden Moreno's injury starts to drag out a little bit longer than you thought, and then you're getting into that point where we've got the 2 playoff games either side of that game against Burnley and before Liverpool, and you've got kind of makeshift left backs coming in and out because Moreno is not quite back. So yes, depending on when we can expect him and what the kind of situation is with Dean and whether there is genuinely interest, because that has gone a little bit cold, it'd be really interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And I think, he's one where I think if you look at the numbers from last season, they're not mind-blowing, but it's, again, we speak about it all the time, it's the intangibles, but, as a fullback to get 3 goals, 2 assists, I mean, 3 goals is great for a fullback. And he's just somebody, again, who, as we both mentioned, is, always looking to be on the front foot, very aggressive, always looking for an overlap, which is something that Emery clearly wants from either one of his fullbacks. And I think Acuna coming in would potentially suggest that I mean, I'm in two minds here, really. Actually, mate, I was going to say that I don't think we'd see another attacking fullback. I think after the Newcastle game, a right back is probably something that's still on Emery's agenda. But you know, the links to Acuna would suggest that the right back in question would probably be more of your Foyth type that we've just hammered on about since day one of Emery coming in. It has to be Juan Foyth at this point, doesn't it, really? Because it doesn't, not that he's been linked, but there doesn't seem to be any outstanding candidates, really, does there, mate?
No, I think that's very true. And I think it's interesting that we're starting to build up these very distinct, different profiles between players and between options. And so, yeah, there's been a little bit of chat about Juan Foyth, not from any English journalists, but yeah, we know that we're coming to the crux of this window now. We've got just over a couple of weeks now, about 2.5 weeks until the window's going to close. So yeah, we need to start acting pretty swiftly, really, on a lot of things, because there's probably still a few holes yet to plug.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It's going to be exciting, though. And if there is a transfer rumour to be discussed, you guys know where to find it. We will be covering that and more here on the Villa Filler podcast. But guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below on Marcus Acuna and on this deal. Transfer market has him valued at about 9 million euros, and I just think, yeah, why not? We've got 9 million. We can afford that. I think with some of the deals as well, actually, before we go, with Zaniolo, obviously it's a loan with an option to buy that is sort of being discussed. Or, you know, potentially even happened at this point. All the links have been loans. Have we sort of spent our allocated transfer kitty? Is this something that not necessarily have to worry about? I don't mean to scaremonger anyone, but I don't know. Like, we've spent a bit of money. I don't think we've spent all the money, but it's just interesting to see that obviously Acuna will come in at a significantly lower fee for anyone that we've signed this window, really, you know. So, yeah, I guess it's just an interesting debate to have as to how we sort of conduct ourselves before the window closes.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But again, I don't think you can scoff at anyone with this quality for 9 million euros, 9 million pounds. I'm sure the club will find that money somewhere. There's got to be a sofa at Bodymoor Heath that's got 9 million euros just chilling behind the back. So we'll wait and see, and we'll keep you guys updated. So yeah, if you are new here, make sure you subscribe, comment your thoughts below, and hit the like button if you enjoyed Up the Villa.